Yeah, that is Bacot.
What up? What up? We live. It's gonna take a minute for the people to come in.
Okay, well, we'll wait for him to come in. How's your day going?
Uh, Shit, just another day. New York Giants getting blown out as expected.
Yeah, well, at least you didn't put no money in there with him.
Yeah, the Chiefs won as expected. So let's see how tomorrow go.
Yeah.
Well, what's up with you, man?
Oh man, I was moving around today, moving and stuff. And so I've been busy doing that.
Oh wait, you know what? I got us on. I got it on private.
Oh,
All right, it should be live now.
all
What's up,
right.
Mac Here's and Maniacs? I know it's gonna take a minute for you guys to pile up in here, but me and OG Cutes here. Cutes, Cutes, what's up, man? What's up with you?
Oh man, it's all good. How the maniacs doing? I hope everybody had a good Saturday night. I had something on my mind I wanted to talk about, once we get going.
Yeah, well, there's nobody up in here. It's just me and you, so we could go ahead and get started, man. No big deal.
But it ain't nobody here.
Nah.
What they doing? What they doing? Watching the game?
Well, we got Denise and Western Ave just came in. Ryan's up in here. They starting to come in now.
Yeah, let's give them a chance. We don't want them to miss out.
Oh, they can always run it back, but whenever you're ready, man.
All right, I wanted to talk about a brother that I haven't really been corresponding with in a long time, brother Pookie, from the West Side. And as far as people knowing Pookie and him being a reputable, and Pookie's always been a known Crip, and he's always, back in the day, he was like that, the number one of the number one foot soldiers out there. Now, I'm not saying what Bacot is saying, he left the set in 72. And he became a Crip in 1970. I became one in 1970, but I was a younger Crip than him. And so was Pookie. But Pookie always been around. He ran with Bonnie, he was around. He's not the same age as some of the other Crips, but he's an OG Crip. He been around. And he didn't start the West Side Crips, but he started gangs within inside of the West Side Crips. He's responsible for having a fraction of the Harlem Godfathers. He's responsible for having a fraction of the Payback. He originated that set. So he is a founder. He's not the founder, but he is a founder of sets that were from the West Side. Those two sets I named were from the West Side. One by way of Harlem and the other one by way of the West Side, which is the West Side.
Don't forget he started the Godfather Crips.
And we can't forget that it's the third one, the Godfathers. So there's a lot of history with Poop. People may be mad at him for things that occurred later on, as sets start splitting up and divisions and infighting and outfighting. Okay, that's true. But I'm talking about a period of time when all of this was held together. And them brothers for the Palladium, they left the set. They wasn't on the street out here banging when we were banging. We were out here a long time messing up, and they wasn't. So to say Poop, no one knows who he was, and that's not cool, and that's not good history. Everybody knew Barefoot. Everybody knew he, represented well. Even Donald Archie says that. And as far as Tookie is concerned, I grew up with Took in the 60s, and Donald Archie's the one that brought him on the scene. Donald Archie's the one that introduced Took to the brothers up there that lived up in the 80s. when his mama moved over on 83rd, you know, right off of, let's say, off of Hardale between Dinker and Hardale, or Dinker and Western. He stayed right in the back house back then. So, you know, to say that Pookie ain't got a place in this is not right. You know, I don't care what he has done or did in the time period that I'm speaking about. Pookie was just as reputable as anybody else. That was a part of this thing. And I don't care what his age was, because we were young, you know. I mean, I knew Pookie from Catholic school. And he was even down then when we would be fighting Sportsman Park boys when they would come to the school to fight us every end of the summer, the beginning of summer. So, you know, Pookie's always been a Crip from day one. And I've been a Crip from day one by way of Magnificent Seven, from the conflict we had as little kids with Donald Archie, you know. And so as far as my influence, even though I grew up with Took, my influence was Donald Archie, you know. And that's just keeping history real. You know, Big Bob, I grew up looking at Big Bob, seeing Big Bob, talking to Big Bob, knowing his little brother. You know, he didn't live but a couple streets over, you know, and he's a reputable too. I guess you could call him a founder too. So, you know, there's founders. We classify founder. Took, helped make the set grow. He recruited people. He was there doing initiations when people would get initiated. If we want to talk about the originator, we talk about Raymond Washington and Craig Craddock in there. We're talking about on the west side. On the west side, Pook's name go down in the history book, regardless of whatever happened between a neighborhood and another neighborhood once things broke up and branched off into their own thing. I'm talking about this period of time between 1970, 71, and the West Side broke up in the 72. And Pook was around in 70 and 71. 72, 73, 74, all the way up until when he basically retired. Like what was that? I said like 75. Start doing hustler stuff.
So here go a question, Q's.
Yeah.
I'm always confused with what made y'all change your thought process as you got older, and why the youth can't see what you see.
Because they still, you know, are feeling the pain of whatever went on with them during their childhood. It's still affecting them. See, when something affects you, you're not healed right away from the effect of what's affecting you. You got to ride that shit out. And some people, you know, they get destroyed within that process, you know, because it's so self-destructive. A lot of things have happened to the individuals that are attracted to becoming a gang member. There's a lot of things that went on in the family dynamic, you know, with the environmental dynamic, things that he came up in, things that he saw, neglect, everything. It's a lot of variables, man. And the reason I'm able to see clear now is because I've been through a hellish process. It's just my eyes just wasn't open immediately. It was incremental change. Change that comes about in time. Can't be rushed. The good thing is that I'm here, and maybe I could, you know, talk and some of the youngsters will hear me, and then they might have an epiphany or something. You know, they might click the light on somewhere inside of them to where they could, you know, evaluate things with a clear mind.
Did your brother Mouse have more influence than Barefoot Pookie?
Well, yeah, everybody's influence is gonna be on who they influence. So in some instances, yes. In some instances, Pookie had more influence. Depends on who was being influenced. You know, who was looking up to who was in whose immediate environment.
Before you went to the joint, do you remember any South Side gangs like Clanthorne 14 or F13 being Western?
When I grew up, the predominant Mexican game in my neighborhood was the Choppers. You know, I remember them because they lived on my street. Joey was my friend, you know, and so those are the ones who I basically remember. They lived in my immediate environment. Of course, when you go down to get your chickens and pigeons, you enter, you know, what, Florence neighborhood. Going down Florence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what the deal is about Barefoot Pookie. You know, like I said, everybody have a right to feel how they feel, and they only know what they know. But to say Pookie wasn't known was like blasphemy to me. You know?
Man, I don't care if I like a person or I dislike a person. I'm not gonna warp history. I'm not for the sake of my ego. I'm not gonna say something that ain't true. I'm not going to. I'm not gonna try to one up somebody, even if I'm not even associated with the person. Even if I had conflict with the person at a high level, I'm not going to get on here and taint history with subjective opinion and not being objective about it. You know, and Pook was a known brother, you know, in his cripping, and he demonstrated well, and he was from day one. You know, he was from day one on that west side.
Do you remember Tookie having skin problems like he mentioned in his book?
No, no. I didn't see no. What was that he said he had? The light skin part of him, like Michael Jackson, and he had it on his back. Never heard of it. When he would peel and he'd take his shirt off, everything his body was the same color. You know, so maybe that came on, you know, later on. Or maybe it was on a part of his body that no one got to see but a girl.
You know. Man. You hit that nail on the head. Oh, Judson is the oldest Crip alive.
Yeah. He could be the oldest Crip alive, but was he the longest Crip on the set? So if you want to put his time of active membership on the set, then he wasn't on the set longer than Pook was on the set. I mean, the set, and what I mean by the set is the West Side. We all know that the West Side ended in '72. Pook was there at the meeting that broke the West Side up. It wasn't but about, 6 people there.
Yeah, man. Brick City, man. Y'all can tone it down a little bit in the comment section. Jamel influence in early Crip history is noteworthy. Jamel's been mentioned in a million interviews, good or bad. So yeah, it's noteworthy and it's already noted.
And no one's trying to take from it. He started, you know, with some more brothers that have a line, you know, garden cribs.
Who's older, Judson Bacot or Big Hoove? Judson was born in 1949.
Hoover's not old as Judson. Judson is the oldest, one of the oldest Crips. Godfather was old too. There was some older brothers that was in it. But even Judson gave credit to Took for he said he came by way of Took. That's what he said.
Right.
And Donald Archie brought Took on the set. Not saying Took didn't already live over there. We grew up on 68th Street.
Respect and love to y'all, KM OG Cutes. Do you remember any LAPD back in your youth that patrolled the West Side with the last name Oliver by chance?
No, I just remember Savage and Lynch.
Way random question, but specific to my personal research. All respect.
Okay, yeah, I knew Savage and Lynch was in my neighborhood. They came from Southwest Division.
Cuse, do you have any stories on Raymond's little brother Gerard?
I never met any of Raymond's family except for his daughter, and I talked to her over the phone by way of Pretty Boy.
All right.
She told me that it makes her feel good. It made her feel good when she would hear me say nice things about her father. And she told me it made her feel good when I would put people down who have these shows and they try to paint him as a monster, and they never knew him.
Cuse, when you gonna come down to Vegas for the weekend, man?
Once I get a vacation going again.
We'll get you. We'll see if you could get a vacation in April.
All right.
What was the Magnificent Seven's greatest rivalry?
Well, any rivalry of the Crips. We were Crips. We fought all the gangs that had joined together. That was against the Crips. And all the gangs that joined together against the Crips was our rivalry. Of course, we live right next to gangs. We bump right up next to gangs. So they would be our most, immediate contact would be those gangs right there in our immediate environment. But we would go out gang banging too. So we were mobile. We had cars. For that, we got on the bus. Or we had homeboys that had cars that would take us with them. We always, was able to spread it around.
Jay Ship said he'll pay for your dinner when you get to Vegas.
Oh, that's cool, brother. I'm going to come. That's for sure. Because the last time I went through Vegas, I was on an 18-wheeler. And I was passing through, and I saw this big old building over to my right, and it had a picture of that young lady who sings, the white girl, and her father was holding on to her money because she was being manipulated to give it to people. And he figured that it would be in his best interest if he would, just take power of attorney and manage her money until, she got a grip of her addiction. Britney Spears. So I saw that big old building with a picture of Britney Spears on it. And I said, wow, I wish I could go in there and listen to her concert. And I was just passing through. I never been to Vegas in my life. The only casino I ever been inside of was the one on Slauson. And JoJo took me up in there.
Cutes, was there a bigger problem with whites or Mexicans when you did your time?
Man, I didn't consider nobody a problem, man. I kept myself together. I didn't look at people as a problem. Maybe they saw me as a problem.
Right. Did CCO or Blue Note ever try to recruit you?
No.
What up, Compton Girl? How you doing? Compton Girl said, what's up, cutes?
How you doing, Compton Girl? I like your name.
Michelle, what's up, Michelle? Was there any reputable white Crips back in your day?
Let me think. A white Crip in my day. I don't want to say I remember. I don't remember any on the west side. But I have seen them inside of the joint. I have seen them inside of the juvenile system. In
your youth days, did you ever hear older folks speaking on the spook hunters?
I heard of that when I hear the old heads talk. Like if I hear the Slausons talk, if I hear Craig talk, if I hear some of the brothers that were teenagers during that time. I guess when that was taking place, I had to be like in that picture when I had that little red 4th of July hat on 18th Street. So it wasn't in my immediate environment, so I never heard of it. But it did exist. I mean, you just got to look at the geographics. The West Side was predominantly white. Washington High School was predominantly white. Crenshaw was predominantly, I guess, Asian at one time. Dorsey was probably predominantly Asian at one time. and the blacks were minorities at those schools. So I could imagine during the minority years at those schools that racism was very prevalent in that community. Because you could just tell the way things, just packed up and left when we started moving over there. All the theaters packed up and left. All of the ice cream parlors packed up and left. All of the fun zones where kids go and play packed up and left. All those things left.
Mm.
You guys wonder why in South Central and other, deprived areas, there's nothing for youth to do, and then people who are very materialistic, capitalistic, and want money, they want to charge the poor moms and the poor families too much money for uniforms. Organized sports is a big gimmick, when it comes to children. How many of those children are going to make it to the major leagues? How many is going to do something? But you could have kept them out of a jail cell. You could have kept them out of a gang. But no, you want to rip their families off and their parents off. And the mother's got 4 or 5 kids. How's she going to get uniforms? How's she going to pay for tuition? How's she going to do all of this? She's not. So kids are going to be like just hanging out, and they could play way better than the kids in the uniforms. They're faster than the kids in the uniforms. They can fight better than the kids in the uniforms. You deprive things of you in poverty. But they didn't run out of uniforms for YTS. They didn't run out of uniforms for juvenile hall. And that uniform was what? A pair of gray khakis, a T-shirt, and some croquet sacks. They were able to muster up enough money to put you in that uniform.
Yeah, Tino. Tino 73, the answer, yeah. Kev my bro was a white Crip and said you was going to ride with him in jail, but he rolled it up. Is that true? I don't remember being in a county jail with no white Crip, only in prison. What side threw the best house parties, Crips or Bloods?
In my experience, I've been to all the parties. Well, not all the parties, but I went to blood parties. I went to straight Crip parties. I went to mixture parties. I think the best parties were in the late 60s, early 70s, the garage parties. And the reason I say these were the best parties is because they played real slow music. You did the grind. You'd be in there, had a dark light on. Everything was romantic, and now you don't get none of that action no more. These kids don't even know what slow dancing is. So I think both sets gave good parties.
Let me see. All right. Did OG Cuse ever meet Bunchy Carter?
I never met Bunchy Carter, and I never met his brother, but I knew of his brother because he was doing, I'm going to say severe time in the penal system. But I heard of him, and I knew people that knew him. Firsthand, front porch people that knew him. I know people that knew their mother, and knew him and knew the little brother. I would ask questions about him, and they would tell me about him because I'd be interested. So I would, actively seek out information about him. And, I looked up to those brothers. Those are strong brothers.
OG Bam said your workouts at Tracy were legendary. What was your routine?
Well, I knew I wanted to be training like a, excuse my language, but I knew I wanted to be training like a gladiator. I would train for battle, and I would train for the fight, which is battle, and I would train like that. So I knew that I had to keep myself lean. I knew I had to have very strong arms and very strong shoulders and strong legs, a good solid core. So I would do arms, sit-ups, squats, shoulders, a lot of stand-up back arms, a lot of standing up, a lot of squats with the weights, walking with the weights, arms, neck exercises. Then in the cell, I would shadow box. I would roll my mattress up. I would sock it. I would hit the big bag. I would do a lot of sit-ups, a lot of burpees, and I would run, and I would eat. I would not eat a lot. I didn't eat a lot.
That's crazy. You didn't eat a lot on purpose?
Yeah, I didn't eat a lot on purpose. I always wanted to feel hungry. I always wanted to have that feeling that I always wanted to have that feeling that I'm hungry, because a brother told me, he said, "Cute, you know, when you go to the hole, they're gonna keep you hungry." And a lot of us ain't used to it, and it drives us crazy. I said, all right, I'm gonna start making myself feel hungry all the time.
Hey, Q, did you know the meal that they was having in prison, like for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, because I would only eat in the chow hall maybe one day out of that whole week.
What was that, for pancakes?
The only meals I would eat out of the chow hall when they would, on chicken, when they would have chicken, that was the only thing they had with a bone. So when they would have chicken, I would go and get that. When they would have rice, I would go and get that. When they start having mystery meat as years go by.
Right.
When I would get raw eggs in the shell, I would go and get that. Folsom had this thing where they were getting the salmon. I would go and get that. So other than that, I was fortunate enough to buy stuff from the lower yard. I was able to get packages from home. So I was always able to eat like that.
Did your mom send you packages or other family members?
You know, I was blessed with a good family. My mom never refused a phone call. She never got her phone cut off. And when I wasn't in the hole and I could call her every day, she would always receive my phone calls. And every quarter or whenever I wanted a package, she would send it to me. The only thing she didn't like sending me was Campbell's, because she thought that I was smoking them. And I would tell her that, Mom, you know I'm not smoking them, I'm selling them. She says, I don't believe it. She says, I'm not sending you any more Campbells. And I said, all right. But I never would smoke cigarettes, so I would get the Camels and I would use them.
Hey, did you ever have fried chicken or baked chicken in prison?
Just baked.
Yeah, I never seen fried chicken in prison.
I never seen fried chicken in prison.
Yeah, my man Shandon, maybe in another state they got fried chicken.
Yeah. Or maybe if someone works in the kitchen with those big old pots and they could pour some grease down toward the bottom where it's bubbling, and they could throw some chicken off in that after they batter it. But those would be some dudes that really work up in the kitchen, and they would have to make some for the guards, and that chicken would have to be real good to allow them to do that.
Oh, they said Jamestown had it, but Jamestown got fire camp, right?
I thought Jamestown was the feds.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, it's fire camp.
Y'all should have ate good up there every day. You know what I mean?
What, at fire camp?
Yeah, you know.
Them brothers are working hard in that fire camp.
Y'all asking some silly questions tonight, man. So excuse me if I'm not reading everybody's questions. Some of them are kind of silly as hell. Maybe because you guys are new to the channel. Cuse, when was the first time you heard about gangs in the Inland Empire?
Well, I know that when I came out to the Inland Empire over by Enterprise Park, that I was instrumental in starting some Crips right there. And that was off of Baseline and Foothill. And it set back, it ain't there anymore. But this had to be 1970, I want to say around 1973, 72, right around in there, when I used to get kicked out of LA and have to come up there and stay for a little while. But you got to remember there was always hustlers in IE. There was always that gang presence in IE.
Man, there's a lot of people up in here, man.
IE has a high thug presence to this day.
They said in North Carolina, there's no chicken at all. What you do with your chicken bones, Q? Take them back to the cell and sharpen them?
But what happened is okay, so the reason they did away with all of this meat with the bones is because of Hugo Pinnell. So Hugo Pinnell was the reason they did away with the bones in the chicken and the bones in the steak and all of that. Because Hugo Pinnell, he was very skilled and he knew what to do with bones.
Did he hit a CO with one of them bones?
They no telling.
Okay. All right. Hugo is Cute's lookalike. Yeah, he told that Hugo story. I've been in Jamestown twice, and I never had fried chicken, only baked chicken. Man, these dudes was probably level 1 with no fence around them. That's probably why they got fried chicken, man.
The only time we ever got fried chicken and we had a sale. You know how they do a sale, and then everybody vote through the MAC, and then they say, okay, we're gonna get Kentucky Fried Chicken. How many people vote? But they might put it against pizza, and there's more minorities that like pizza. No, there's more majority that like pizza than fried chicken. Whereas people who like fried chicken would be the minority, so they're not gonna win no vote in no institution. So here comes the pizza.
Q's, did you like Rick James or Parliament, Funk, etc.?
Yeah, I liked it. Rick James, the Parliament, the Funkadelics before the Parliament, which were the same group. I liked it. I liked that funk music. You got to realize what was the drug of choice during that era. See, any wave of music like that has a certain drug. Like if you liked it, for instance, if you liked the psychedelics and you engaged in that during the '60s, then there were groups, that you would listen to. It brought the high to that level. So in my era, you mess with Sherman and PC, which is the PCP, and the music that you're listening to that sounds good while you high off this stuff is the Funkadelics, the funk. Parliament.
Here go a question for you, Q's.
Yeah.
What's the longest you was ever in the hole, and how big were the sales? Can you describe the sales?
Oh yeah, I'll give you a good feeling of the sale. The longest I was in the hole was almost like 8 years, and the cell is made out of concrete and it's gray because they don't paint them in the hole. They're gray, and the cell is about 4 feet in width and about maybe. I don't want to under exaggerate, but maybe it's 4 feet in width and in length. I'm gonna say it's maybe about almost close to 5 or 6 in length. But then you got the bunk bed that takes up the space, so it's not an open space.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the toilet that sits in the back of the cell and it takes up the space of the floor. So now it could turn what I just said in length to about maybe 4 feet, because there's the toilet, right there. And we got a 2-man cell. Now you got 2 bunks. So now it's been took away that open space again, and the ceiling is not high at all. So the height of the cell, I'm going to give it around 7 feet, Kev? That's stretching it, huh? Maybe 6 feet.
Yeah, about 6.5. Right?
6, because people are ducking down. And if you live on a top bunk, you can't sit up straight. You got to bend over in an arch. You could reach up like this and touch the ceiling with a bit in your elbow. It's very confining, and it's very. You feel like you're in a sardine can, and it grows on you after a while. You never get used to it. You know, so you won't get used to it.
Would you consider yourself closer to Tookie than you was to Monster Cody?
Of course, because Monster wasn't my age. Monster was my little brother's friend. I had more relationship on a higher level with Stanley than I did with Monster. And by the time Monster was of an age to really hang around me and everything, we were separated through our incarceration, you know, and through geographics. He was living over here, I was living over there. It's like we hadn't seen each other the first time in almost like 30 or 40 years. And we walked in on each other at a restaurant. He was coming in, I was going out.
Hey man, to the essay or whatever you are to keep asking about prison with the Mexicans and ABs, we're not on that topic tonight. And if you go look at 16 to Life's channel, you see the Mexicans went up because whatever Bam had to say, they didn't like it or couldn't take it, but they didn't appreciate it. And we don't have a large Mexican crowd over here, so we already know what it is. We mainly focus on Crips and Bloods. We're not out to hurt no feelings. We're not out to up ourselves and be bigger than nobody else. We always say, let the mother channels deal with that. Tookie was a higher peer, Monster was a lower. Yeah,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but age status, yeah.
I would just say, you know, by years, Monster was our little brother. You know? He was our little brother. He was a down little brother.
Morgan Moore wants to know if he went to prison, would people stand around and look at him weird?
If he went, what this? What? No, I like this. I like this. Okay, so describe yourself, and I'll tell you.
Oh my goodness! I really changed his question around because it seemed like he was being a little funny. So I put the focus on him. You feel me?
Oh, okay.
I mean, because you never know who's trolling or who's just immature or joking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to feel it out. You're a pretty good judgment of character.
Yeah, so I had to twist it up on him, man.
Yeah.
Ask Q's, how's your book coming? Has you started on it yet?
Yeah, what I've been doing is I've been rehearsing. I've been going over it and everything, and I'm about to record it and put it inside of my camera that my friend sent me. My friend blessed me with a camera, you know, a nice camera.
Jerry Allen, excellent question. If Cutes leave a little early, I'll talk about Jalen Hurts later. But it's not that Jalen won me over. I'm just happy that the defense, the secondary, I told you guys that secondary doesn't get their respect. The secondary got all lockdown defenders. And you seen that in the first half tonight. So I was glad they showed up and showed out. And we'll talk about Jalen and them later, my bro. Team ball for sure. Defense win championships, and the offense is playing great. But the Giants, and I'm not going to talk no more sports right now, Q, but the Giants defense, I mean, the Eagles always blow the Giants out. They start off with these big leads. Giants don't even score till the Eagles scored 3 or 4 times. On top of that, the Vikings had no defense. So what you seen the Giants do against the Vikings had nothing to do with what they could do or not do against the Eagles. And so I'm gonna leave that alone for now, since we got Cutes here and he's blessing us with some insights and some history. A good question I seen, Cutes. As simple as this question is, I think it's a good question. How did the OGs like you and your peers, the guys older than you, feel about the A-Tray gangsters? Well, the gangsters, West Side gangsters and the neighborhoods beefing with each other.
Well, you can't feel good about it because it's people's little brothers dying. So it feels awful. It's a bad, it's an awful feeling, that you get because you hear about, kids that you knew, that you actually talked to, rode on the handlebars of a bike or, seen going to school and now they're dead by their friends or used to be their friends. So no, it didn't feel good. And then you might have knew one of the other kids that killed the other kid, and then you're like, man, friends with both of the kids. You friends with the one who did it as well as the one who demise.
Charger Dodger. I absolutely remember things like that, right? And you know the thing. It wasn't early 72. Cutes and a lot of people, Hawk, Donald Archie, a lot of people already said the West Side started in 1970. So stretching it to 1972 is going a bit too far. So
Stretching it to 1972 is just defying history.
yeah,
It's like repainting history.
right,
It's like trying to catch somebody slipping up.
right.
And you can't catch me slipping up because I already told you that the West Side started in 1970.
Q's, did you ever know China, Monster's ex-girlfriend?
No, she was too young for me to know, but I knew her. I knew of her brother, her little brother.
To the guy asking about Raymond Washington, go look at this video with Pretty Boy, Cat Caesar, and Q's, and all your questions will be answered in that video. Terrell Brown, I wouldn't say GDs had more rules, leaders, structure back in the day, more organized. All right. You ever run across any GDs in prison, Q's?
What's a GD?
Gangster Disciple from Chicago.
No, all that stuff is in Chicago.
Right. Still Pittsburgh. Bang that like button, y'all. It's all their homes. Inglewood Crips were first in 1970. Yeah, that's according to some people. We don't really know for sure, but put it like this. The guys in the hundreds say the Inglewood Crips was first. The guys in the 80s don't say that.
And I don't say it either.
So what Tony Stacy talking about then? Charger Dodger. I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you know how to do math, but if the Crips on the east side started earlier, so if you put just say 69, if you put 2 years on 69, you're talking about 71. Some people say the Crips may have started in 68, so that would be 70. So still, no matter how you do it, no matter what math you use, everybody that's still living know the West Side Crips started before 1972. So I don't know what it is you don't understand that Tony Stacy said. Maybe you can look him up and email him. Send him my email. Let him answer your question.
Tony Stacy's my friend.
Let's see. GC is her brother, Lil GC. What up, RJ88? What's up, man? Accused RJ88's a G, man. He was born 1953. I used to wonder why he was so accurate on a lot of stuff when he chimes in, but it makes sense now.
Yeah, that's good. So he's keeping up with the real history.
And he's putting his comments. I like that.
Yeah, and he got a clear mind, so that's good.
Q's has spoken on Craig Craddock many times. Yeah. So yeah, the answer, yeah, you guys could quit asking that same question over and over. I remember Big Brim, Southside Compton. I heard of Brim from Southside Compton. Mm.
You talking about a brother? About you talking about the family Brims, and they lived in Compton. You talking about them brothers?
I don't know if they was brothers. He was, I believe, to be part of a famous incident up there.
Because I got some Brim brothers that was in the joint with me that were out of Compton.
Oh, okay. Hughes, was there many black-owned small businesses in your neighborhood during the early years, like cleaners, restaurants, suits, etc.?
There was a little record shop that sit between 67 and and I'm gonna say it sit between 66 and 65th. A little small record shop that was black owned. It was always more churches, more black preachers in those little, you know, small churches where they would rent out a space within those little buildings that once lined Normandy and once lined Western, those little low buildings, they are gone now. But there used to be a bunch of little buildings. And one of them maybe would have like a little plumbing shop, one would have a cleaners, one would have like a little pool shop. And then, some of them would be owned by the brothers. The brothers would own some markets, little markets over by Raymond Avenue. There was a little market on Butlong. It said like 70, it's like 74th or 73rd, right back up in there. There was a little market over there, but it wasn't a lot because, like I said, you guys listen to what I tell you. Unemployment was at an all-time high, and this was with people who needed to have a job to support a family. There was a lot of poverty in that area. All the liquor stores were owned by Jews and white people. All
All
of the
right,
liquor.
look. All right, so since you mentioned Jews, let me address this question for you. Okay, first of all, man, I don't know who David is, so I can't call somebody wannabe if I don't know him. If he was staffing YTS, I wouldn't know him. I never been to YTS except to visit. Now, Cutes, have you heard of a Jew from Rolling 60s named David?
No.
I don't know why people be adamant about their questions and their information like they do. Like it does become irritating. It becomes repetitive, and that's what makes it irritating. Do you remember Dolphins of Hollywood on Central and Vernon?
Was that a record shop?
Yeah, record shop. Yeah.
I heard of it.
RJ said, Cutes, I don't know why I never met you. I had Jamel, Tookie, and Mouse in my Cadillac going to concerts.
That's good because we also had our own Cadillacs too.
Miles, damn, he had Miles, Tookie, and Jamel. That had to be early, what, 70s, Cutes?
No, but I know we all had cars.
That's a hell of a roll call. That's what I was saying, Jay Ship. Like, damn, he got a cold carload of people right there. How about
Tookie had a gold Lincoln. Mouse had a 65 black. I had a 62 Chevy. And I don't see them riding with other people.
Hey, I heard, how would you feel? This ain't for you, Cutes. I'm just saying in general. You driving down the street, you driving down Central Avenue, or you driving down Avalon, and you bump the car in front of you. and they got them dudes in the car. Like, oh shit. I'll pay for it right now. I can see Too Pretty Kenny being the one that bump into him. Hey, I'm sorry, Tookie. Hey, man, you yoked up, man. I'll pay for it. Let me see
That's
that
funny.
carload rivals monster sitting in the back seat with Raymond and Tookie. Yeah, Monster, Raymond, and Tookie together.
Coming from Centinela Park.
Man. Ask Cutes, does he know Tyrone Tate? And did you ever hang in Watts?
I heard of Tyrone Tate, but I never got to meet him. And I used to be in Watts. We used to break in the candy shop. We used to break in the candy store.
Jay Ship said, Too Pretty Kenny would have said, you can have my car, man. And you need some gas money too? It was a Fleetwood Cutes, and it was because of Jamel. It was a Fleetwood, and it was because of Jamel.
Well, what's the brother's name?
I don't know. His name on here is RJ88.
Oh.
They all fall under the same umbrella. The 8/8s are part of the same set as AGC. What took the gangs from protecting the community to violence against one another?
I never knew the gangs to be nothing but what they are. I never remember that transition. The gangs are going to protect what they're going to protect, and they're going to fight when they feel like they're being disrespected. But they never stopped protecting the community. They always protected their community. It's just sometime in their community they have conflict with the inside of the community, which may appear that they being destructive in the community.
I was just about to say, it may appear they're not protecting the community, but every gang is protecting their turf, which is the community.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Is Mac 7 turf 8-tray Gangster North Side now?
I don't know. I know that that area now has been all them homes over there has been sold. And the homes that we used to live in is gone. And I don't know who rents them now, but whoever rents them, that's their neighborhood. And if there's a gang claiming that area over there, if they ain't got no homes over there, then where are they hanging out? On the street?
Did you know Baba Louie before he turned Pyro?
And I know Baba Louie?
Yeah.
No.
I think Baba Louie said he only banged Crip from like 69 to 70.
Yeah.
Then he stopped banging, and then eventually he ended up in Compton.
I've been with Baba Louie on both sides of the town, though. I've been with him on the Peru side, and I've been with him on the 8-tray Gangster side, which is the west side.
Oh, you talking about since you got out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, AC lived on my sister's street, but I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Prior to that, when we were kids, we wouldn't hang out together because we were considered rivals. Because we both about the business.
Yeah, baby boy, he does. Did people put prison on lockdown the day they took his life?
Yeah, man. The day they didn't take his life, to say it like it was, the day they murdered him. Just like they murdered Jesus. The barbarians. The barbarians are still in our society. Fact is, the barbarians are running our society. They try to keep the focus on the little people, us, the gang members. But they're the real barbarians. Don't be distracted.
You see, they don't want to teach African American studies.
Yeah, they want you to forget all about it.
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
The barbarians don't want to be remembered for their barbarianism.
Right.
Scalping Indians, hanging women in the tree, raping them, feeding us to the sharks. They want to forget all that shit, but they want to always tell you about a Crip and a Blood and a Mexican and all that shit. They don't want to talk about the shit that they done and still doing. They're taking your focus off the real deal, man. That's why I always stay in your gang for the rest of your life. Never get out of your gang. Be proud of your gang. Remain a part of it and make it better. That's what you do. Make your gang better.
You know, most of us are aboriginal to this country. I don't
No,
know.
don't feel like you ain't an American. Don't make them fool you into that.
That's
You are
exactly what he's
you
saying too.
yeah, you are American. You are American. This is yours. If you're
Yeah,
gonna get a piece of the pie, you're gonna get it right here because you ain't gonna get it nowhere else. So
damn sure ain't.
don't give up your seat here. I don't care how hellish it's been or how hard it is. Don't give up being here.
Hmm.
You got a right to be here. You earned the front row seat when they brought your ancestors over here in ships.
I guess, man. I don't even want to get into that debate tonight. We was here before them, okay. So we were in America before them, but you're not American.
Okay, well, you could say whatever you want, man, to make you feel whatever how you want to feel. But I tell you this much. I came over here, my ancestors came over here in the bottom of a ship. That's
You
how my
see,
ancestors got, and they wasn't here before. And that's when they came from Kush. My ancestors came from Kush.
damn you guys, there y'all go. Shit. Um, reparations need our attention.
There you go. Now you're talking.
That's
Now you're
somebody else.
talking.
That's somebody else.
Yeah.
You damn sure ain't gonna get no reparations if you gonna say you ain't African and you ain't American.
Yeah, and you was already here.
You cancel anything you might get.
You canceling yourself out.
Right. Q's, how much was Tookie and Jamel benching when they were in high school?
Oh, Jamel could hit 500. Jamel had a strong ass bench. Jamel wasn't strong as Tooker in the back arms, but his bench was superb. Jamel had a high ass grown man bench. Could hit five wagon wheels, which is 45 pounds on each side, and I think 2 nickels or 2 dimes on the end of that. That's what he could hit.
When was your best birthday as a teenager?
My best birthday?
Yeah.
1964.
What happened, Q's? You got a
My
car?
grandmother, no, my
No,
grandmother,
it was
my
70.
60, my, in 64, my grandmother brought me a brand new Swin Stingray bike.
That's when you were still in the outlaws, huh?
Yeah. And I would ride my bike up around that church right there on 18th Street.
I wish you had more pictures over there so I could see the landscape.
Yeah, man, that was the coolest block. It had trees. All the kids would come out and play. It wasn't like today. Kids would be outside playing. Everybody had like 4 or 5 kids. The block would be full of kids. Good old days. One bigger kid would take you up to the store with some bottles, cash the bottles in. You get Mother's Pride. You get bubble gum. You get, man, all the goodies. Big old bag of chips. All the kids would be eating. We go around and hustle up all the bottles.
I mean, I don't know. My thing is this. This is why I don't want to talk about this subject right now. Okay. We were here first. All right. That's what everybody's saying. We was here first. We didn't come from Africa, or not that many people came from Africa. All right. So explain to me when and how did we lose our power? How did we lose our land? You know what I'm saying? How did we become captured? Like, explain that to me. Because right now, Indians got reservations. What do we got? We got penitentiaries. So I don't understand that. Because we not a dumb people. We damn sure was in the labor back then. We damn sure can be as violent as they can be. So I don't get it. That's why I don't like having that conversation. Yeah, well, they did a great job conquering. We don't hear about no other races in America being enslaved.
If we was here first in America, all right, if we was here first in America, how come we didn't tap into the iron? How come we didn't tap into making weapons out of metal?
That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
to make us fight good, like
That's
we fought when we were in Africa with spears and whatnot. How come we didn't tap into none of the resources that's here to make weaponry? If we were here first, and if we had such great minds,
man.
how come we didn't build an army?
You know what? I see. What I hate is this forum ain't really about that. You know what I mean? But when y'all come in here and get them stories started, it hurts your pride and it takes us off of our conversation. You know, because like if you don't want to admit to your ancestors' struggle, at least let us know why we still talk. Why people still talking about we need reparations and give us what we owed and give us some land and give us our own state and all that shit. Cause we not just no dummies. Okay, gunpowder. We wasn't smart enough or good enough to get no gunpowder. We strong enough to run up in somebody's cell or run down a tier and beat some people up. We wasn't good enough to run and do nothing to our oppressor or what. But it's poor people in every community though. Yeah, absolutely. But we built everything though. Funny. Yeah, I know. I mean, they confusing me though, G Mac. Kev, you always try to avoid questions. Yeah, I do, Holy War. Just like you try to avoid super chats. You try to avoid speaking. You try to avoid things too. So yeah, I do. I do avoid questions. Absolutely, I avoid questions. I already said some of these questions are repetitive. Some of these questions are elementary. Some of these questions have already been answered. Yeah. So if I'm feeling a little upset or angry, yeah, I have a right to. I have a right to skip over any question I feel like skipping over. I don't know where they come up with these. We built this and that, but it's everybody being oppressed, not just black people. That's my point. Well, I agree with half of your point. I don't know about the other point about everybody being oppressed. Shit, how, who, where? Definitely colonization. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna avoid my glasses too. Yeah, I'm gonna avoid them. I'm not gonna tell you what I want to avoid. You might get a little too offended. Cutes, who laced you when you hit the pen? Who was your mentor?
I got laced before I got to the pen. I was laced by my father. I came up in a family with structure. My mother, she graduated from Pepperdine University. I grew up around educated people in my family. I had uncles, I had uncles that went to the military. Spent a lot of time talking to them when I was a kid, and I was raised by I was raised by my grandparents, so I would listen to them, so they laced me on how to survive, in life and how to take care of myself and what to trust and what not to trust, and how hard to go if your life's in danger, how to take care of yourself, how to fight for yourself, how to fend for yourself. My I came up around some good solid people, uncles, brothers, cousins, mother, aunties. They indoctrinated me before I got to pen. By the time I got to the pen, going through juvenile hall, YA, by the time I got to county jail, By the time I got to the joint, I already knew what time it was. I already knew. So I could see.
Hey, Q's, did you know any Fortray Hoovers?
I knew Fort Trey Avalon,
Okay.
knew Black Johnny in there.
Let's see. Now that was a hit, Eagles. That was Deep Q's. Face blue smiling, face blue smiling. These niggas kill me, man. Maybe this is why I come on late at night, Q's.
Mm-hmm.
Because then all the kids got to be in bed. The kids are asleep when I come on late.
But I wouldn't mind the kids because at least when a kid asks you something, they really want to know.
No. What I'm saying is the immature dudes, man.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Fools purposely saying some idiotic stuff.
Yeah.
Was the original Pepperdine University on Vermont in 77.
It was right there. It was right there. I used to be up there when it was. I used to ditch up there.
That's Vermont, Cutes?
Huh? Yeah,
Cutes
between
froze up, y'all.
It was. No, I'm not froze up.
To his truck and froze up.
Froze up. You hear me? It was between Vermont and Normandy.
Froze, y'all.
Yeah.
Look like
it was between Vermont and Normandy. It looked like you froze, Kev. Anyway, that Pepperdine, it used to be over there, then it closed. They closed that campus in the 70s. Then they moved to the Malibu campus. But believe it or not, the Malibu campus was in existence when the one on Vermont and Normandy was in existence, but it was slowly closing down. And then my mom started going to the one in Malibu. And the funny thing is that I was right down the street on Malibu Canyon Road in Camp David Gonzalez. I was doing time in that camp right there. So my mom would always come and visit me. She would leave work. I remember she would leave her education and her breaks and she would come and visit me. And they knew that my mom was in school down there so she could come and see me when she wanted to. So, Mac kids, what else you guys want to talk about tonight? I wish I could read some of the questions, but I can't. I could just see that we're still live. And I guess Kev must have checked out. Have you guys been looking at what's going on with the Republican Party and what's going on with the House? Have you guys been paying attention to any of that? You guys been paying attention to any of the politics in the world? You know, and how they're trying to set the clock back on women's rights and how they're trying to, investigate things that don't need investigating with the taxpayer dollar. They want to investigate the president's son, Biden. He's not a politician. They want to waste our money investigating him, a guy who admits to having a drug problem. They want our tax dollars to go toward that. They're trying to take away Social Security for the elderly, the debt ceiling. They say they don't want to raise the debt ceiling. What is that all about? Raising the debt ceiling, not raising the debt ceiling. Is America going to really run out of money if they keep borrowing? Really? How? It can't happen. It would never happen. So you should raise the debt ceiling. What are you going to do? Let everything fold in on itself by not raising it? Or are you going to try and make the Democrats give in to your cuts in Social Security, your cuts for all the poor programs that you call entitlement programs? You Republicans are some cold people, and now they being ran by the maggots. The maggots, a small fraction of white supremacists, is controlling the speaker because in order for him to have gotten the position, he had to give in to the maggots. And if he does anything that they don't like, it only takes one to recall him. And then they go have all these hearings and whatnot to recall him. So, he's gonna flip over backwards to please them. So whatever they want, all the weird stuff, that's what he's gonna do. So we're gonna be in for a rocky road for the next 2 years. And that's just the way it's gonna be. I just hope that they don't get anything, because most of the stuff that they try to approve is gonna go before the president, and he had veto power. I hope he vetoes everything, that they put up. As long as we got a Democratic president, we can keep the maggot white supremacy in check. Because there are good people in that Republican Party, but it's just, they're being held hostage too. And that's just the way it is. So that was just a little bit of the politics I wanted to talk to y'all about. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was exercising in 2023. I want you guys to take better care of yourselves this year. If you were drinking a little much last year and you feel you need to back off of that, smoking a little too much, you feel you need to back away from that. Anything that you think in your mind that's not doing you good, and you need to set a day to stop. Just write it on the calendar. This is the day I'm not going to drink anymore. This is the day I'm going to start going to the gym. See, when you write these things down and you read them and you could see them, now you're giving yourself permission, to carry something out. And that's being strong. That's having structure. That's taking control and command of your life. And that's what you need the ability to do. We might not have much, say in the government, what's going on, what's going to happen. But we should have enough self-control within ourselves to be able to stop the things that are self-destructive within ourselves. We should have that ability. No matter how tough the world is and whatever you've been messing with, you shouldn't lose control of, bettering yourself, stopping what's destroying yourself. And I don't care if you're in prison or on the street or wherever you find yourself at, you can take care of yourself better wherever you're at. You can change your quality of life wherever you're at in this day of existence within yourself. But you have to want to do it. You have to give yourself permission, to do it. And you could be from, the sixth grade to in your 80s or 90s, you still living, you still, breathing. There's things you could do, that could have a positive effect on yourself. And usually when you do good things for yourself, it spills out, in relationships. So I wanted to talk about that, and cover that a little bit, because sometimes people, they just get up in the morning and they find themselves in this rut and they don't know how to get out of it. But when I go down the boulevard, I see a lot of people that's been giving up, man, and they're young. Some people, everybody have a different tolerance level where they can just tolerate things. And some people's tolerance level is real low. So these young people, they're giving up. They don't want to work. They don't want to bathe. They don't want to go out and look for, a better tomorrow. It's sad when you see it, but I'm not going to feel sorry for nobody, because my pity is not going to change anything. It's just going to affect me. And I'm not going to be walking around all, morbid feeling because you don't want to do something good for yourself. And you want to stay stuck. You want to make me feel sorry for you. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. You know, even when I was doing my time, there was people in there wanting you to feel sorry for them. You know, don't feel sorry for me. I'm not gonna feel sorry for you because there's things you can do, you know, wherever you at to better yourself. But you got to be willing to give up something. See, a lot of people, they would rather endure the pain of what they used to than endure some pain of change, something that they're not used to, you know. And I wanted to get over any substance abuse. I wanted to get over all of that because I knew that it wasn't doing me any good. I knew that those drugs was no good for me, you know, and so it was the hardest thing to give up, you know, because there was a part of it I liked, but I had to give it up, you know, because I knew at the end it was destroying me, you know, and it was no good. It's the reason why they put a liquor store on basically every corner in the ghetto. You could drive like within a square mile, and I guarantee you could count at least 10 liquor stores. But if you cross and go into Westwood or Beverly Hills, you're not going to see those liquor stores. Those people don't have those in their community. But all of those people invest in the liquor stores in our community because it helps keeps you oppressed. But we don't got to go in them. We don't got to cater to them. We don't got to go there. We don't got to buy that liquor. You know, we can learn to make ourselves feel good, you know, by exercising, by doing something, reading a book, getting some music, getting a motorcycle, you know, doing something positive. It's just, you know, we have to want better for ourselves. You know, and the young people, you need to not be afraid of them and speak to them and talk to them. When they somewhere, just talk to them. If I see a bunch of youngsters and I be somewhere and they all crowded around and then they get to laughing and giggling and having fun, sometimes I just go up and get to talking with them and they enjoy it, you know. And if they don't, then you know, they ain't ready for what you got to say. You don't got to stay there. You can just go and say, okay, I have a good time. For the most part, youngsters want some attention. You know, they'll listen to you. Got to be telling them something, you know, that's of pay value to them, something that's interesting to them.
Oh, hey,
What's up?
what's up?
What's up, Kay? What's up, Kay? How you doing?
It's all good, man. Kel Max sent me the link, man. He told me to tell you guys, man, that his modem crashed.
Yeah, well, I've been keeping the show going, so I was just uplifting the people, you know, uplifting the youngsters, telling people, you know, change is possible. You have to want it from within, though. You know, I'm just motivating, you know, maniacs and
Hey, I
letting them
heard
know
that.
that I'm here with them.
I heard
So,
that, brother. A positive
t-
message is always good.
well, whip one on us, man. Give me some of that wisdom.
Oh man. You know what? You hit it right on the head, man. You know, your what you accomplish in life, man, is what you use your energy toward. Because you can use your energy toward negativity, or you can use that same energy toward directing yourself towards something that's gonna provide for you and you know for you and your family. Think about all those guys. Just think about Freeway Rick, for instance. Freeway Rick was making more money than some of the Fortune 500 Wall Street, uh, Wall Street guys. You know, that's dealing with stocks and bonds. Back in the day, back in the in the late '70s and the '80s and all that. That that same energy that he used to do what he was doing on the streets, he would have been one of those guys leading Fortune 500 companies like Walmart or something like that. You know, I think, oh man, you know the it's no boundaries, man. Everything is limited when you limit yourself from achieving. You got, you got to really just, as long as you want it, what stopped you, Cute, when you was out there? If you was out there and you wanted something when you was a youngster, you went and you took it. You see what I'm saying?
You have to
That's,
have ambition.
you gotta
Ambition.
have it. You gotta have it,
People
man.
people lose their ambition when they become defeated. People lose their ambition when they've been told no so many times. People lose their ambition when they realize that the dream that they dreaming, you know, to conquer or they want, it's not, you know, it's not coming. It's not, they can't visualize it anymore. It's like they give up on themselves, you know, and in the world kicks some people harder than it kicks other people. And what I want people to know is that, okay, you might have wanted something so bad in your life. There comes a time in your life when you got to realize that, okay, that goal is unattainable. But what could I achieve within my level of education, my level of influence, my level of people who's willing to help me? What are people telling me they want to help me do? Well, what have I been turning down? Is my expectations too high for what I want to do, you know, what I want to be? And if so, I need to take, you know, an assessment of that and realize that, you know, and then start something that's more attainable, so a goal that's more realistic to achieve.
You're exactly right, brother. I had made that determination years ago, but I put it into steps. If I was trying to reach a goal that was up here, I knew that I couldn't go from A to Z, so I would get one step at a time. A, work on that. B, work on that. Work on C until I achieve my main goal. I think a lot of people are too impatient when it comes to achieving success. They want it instantaneously, especially these days. They want it now. I want it now. I don't want to wait until I'm 50 years old, like a lot of people was doing, like our parents and our grandfathers and all of them that worked till they was like 65 and then they retired and they got Social Security. A lot of cats have been so programmed to instant success that instant success can actually lead to instant failure when you don't achieve that success quickly. You know, rappers, a perfect example. You got a bunch of cats that it's so many guys trying to achieve the same thing that everybody ain't gonna make it. You know, you got to come up with something new, something different. You have to stand out. Snoop, let's see, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Ice-T, these guys are exception to the rule. They still around, just like Snoop. You see Snoop kind of like change his little stuff, man, here and there. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this. Ice Cube did the same thing. He was doing the rap, he's doing the movies, he's trying to get the 3-on-3 basketball. He's doing. So you have to change with the times, and you got to change your ambitions sometimes, man. You got to change your goals. You know? If
you were 20, okay, if you were 19 again, okay, say you 19. All right, I'm talking to all the 19-year-olds out there. Okay, if I'm 19 years old, you know, either I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in prison with a life sentence, or I can make the choice to go to the military. There's not even a war going on right now. The armed services, you got the Army, you got the Marines, you got the Navy, you know, you got, what's the other one? The Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah, the Air Force. So you got all of these branches of service that you could join. And you could join them for 4 years. 4 years. If you get a sentence by a judge and you're black, you're Mexican, or you of some other minority, I guarantee you at 19, that judge is going to give you more than 4 years for the crime that they accused you of. You may have committed it, or you may not have committed it. Regardless of that, that's neither here or there. I'm just telling you, you're 19 years old, you live in the inner city, you come up in a family where there's a limited amount of resources. Now, a lot of arguing is taking place. You're getting bigger, you eating more, you no one's working, you know, here you are, bitter all day, all the time. you could join the military. Because if you keep going down the road that you're going on, you're going to watch those 4 years go by so fast in jail. And then you're going to still be in there. And when you finally get out, you're going to say, damn, man, in my 20s, I could have took advantage of those 4 years that Cutes is talking about, the 4 years that he wanted to take advantage of but didn't. And you would have got all of these benefits. You would have been a member of the armed services. They would have basically took care of you for the rest of your life. You could have went from there to more education. You would have set your foot on solid foundation. But if you want to continue on the course that I was on, so many brothers like me and other brothers, you were lucky, my brother. You were lucky that you had a strong mind. You were lucky that you was able to take the path, you know, of resistance. Because too many of us take the path of least resistance. But my advice is to take the path of resistance and do that 4 years in the military, you know, and get your benefits and get you some structure and some training and get your mind off this foolishness that's taking place out here in these streets, man.
Because you know what, though? We all do our time in different ways, man. I did my time basically 20 years on the streets of fucking up. I had, you know, after I walked away from one thing, you know, as far as the banging was concerned, my criminal life didn't end. You know, I went into drugs and, you know, dealing drugs and pimping and you name it. So my criminal shit continued. I was just lucky enough to not get caught.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I didn't get caught was because I had older gangsters that I was under their wing that taught me a different way of doing things, you know? So I listened. I was always a listener when I was a young person. I always listened to the older people and I always learned from older people. And I always enjoyed listening to the old people tell those stories about, you know, how it used to be and how they did this and how they did that. Yeah. I think some of that is lost these days because a lot of young kids, I taught my kids the old way I was taught, the same way, you know, but a lot of kids are lost because there's nobody teaching them to respect or, you know, just, you know, have basic respect for the older generation. They look at the older generation like we don't know shit and we in the way, but basically we already made the mistakes that they're just learning about. They just learning something new today. They think that shit ain't never been done before, but it's been done 1,000 times. Yeah. You know, so we need to have more cats like you, more cats like Kev Mac, more cats like Skip Townsend, and more cats that can come out and tell the kids, look, don't do what I did. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just saying, don't make the same mistakes I made. So, you know, like you said, it's alternatives. And the military is one. You know, I know my cousin spent 24 years in the Air Force and he was on the track. He was on the path of real destruction, man. And he got, you know, my uncle snatched him up and said, yeah, okay, it's time for you to go ahead on and hit this service, you know, because he was heading down that path. And, you know, he was able to raise his kids, pay for his home and all this other stuff, man. With that, you can get a college education for free in the military. You know, a lot of good benefits, man. Free medical for the rest of your life. You know, at the VA hospital. I mean, it's benefits in it. You know,
let me tell you something, man. These young people are in a lot of pain right now. And you can tell the type of pain that individuals are in through the dynamic of their age and the drug of choice that they choose to get high off of. You have the politicians. Their whole thing is racism. They want to know where the drug is coming from. They say, oh, we could stop the pipeline of this drug from getting in to our society, then we'll stop the deaths. But that's putting the cart before the horse. By knowing where the drug is coming from, stopping it from getting in the community, you're already too late. You're already
right.
Too
They
late.
don't want to stop no drugs, man. They're the ones allowing the drugs to come here in the first place.
Exactly. So here it is. Here it is. We have fentanyl. Here it is. We have this damning drug. And young people, let me tell you what this drug does to your body. Let me tell you the pharmacology of this drug when it gets into your brain and it penetrates your blood-brain barrier. It simply stops the part of your brain from communicating, the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your brain, the atomic nervous system that makes you breathe. It makes your heart beat. It just shuts that down and you die.
Mm-hmm.
You have no control over that once that drug gets inside of you.
Wow.
The toxicity of that drug is so strong. It binds to fat molecules within inside of your body. And when it's binded, it's there. And then you put a little more in your system, guess what? The part that was binded is coming unbind. Now it penetrates the blood-brain barrier again, and you're dead. Mm-hmm. You're 19 years old and you laying up in a morgue, cold, dead. Your little friends then left you in the vacant house because they're scared. They don't want to get charged with the murder. They leave. The drug is so powerful, my brother. You could die from sniffing it.
Right. You can die from touching it.
You can die from, exactly, because it penetrates within inside of the cells inside of a person's body, which are microscopic.
Right.
That's how potent the drug is. But this is the drug. This is what our children are medicating themselves with because they're in so much pain. They're hurting. They're being ignored. They're in so much pain. And they don't know if they buy a joint. They don't know if it's laced with it. They don't know what got it in there. They finding
fentanyl. They finding fentanyl in damn near every street drug out there now.
Yeah, because they stretching their drugs.
They finding it in the coke. They finding it in the heroin. They finding it in the weed. They finding it in everything.
Yeah, so these kids need to wake up and they need to quit getting high off anything.
Yeah, any street drugs. Why would you want to buy street drugs when at least 28 states now have legalized marijuana that you can go buy at the dispensary?
Yeah, because they don't want to go to an dispensary and buy no drugs because I guess it feels cooler to them, to go and piece up together and go buy something that maybe didn't kill them the first time they took it. Maybe the first 4 times you take it, it makes you feel sensational. Maybe it gives you the ultimate euphoria that you ever thought about receiving in your whole damn life. But it's just that one time that you're going to take it and it's going to kill you. And then there are the poor souls who's not going to get 2 or 3 free rides out of it before it kills them. They die the first time they take it.
First time. It's almost like they're trying to eliminate people. That's what it seems like. I mean, we know that they put crack in our neighborhoods to eliminate our family structure. We know that they put PCP in my generation to destroy the brain cells of young people so they wouldn't be able to compete at a higher level. But this drug is killing white kids. This drug is killing white kids at an astronomical amount. It's killing everybody. Every nationality, every race, man.
It's killing minority kids too, but it's killing a lot of white kids. So I don't believe the conspiracy that someone is putting it out there to kill the kids.
No, I'm not saying it's just necessarily for to kill like minorities. Period. I'm saying this is this is just a theory. And somebody had just made that statement too. With COVID, and prior to COVID, what was it? It was something else that was out there that was bad.
Crystal?
No, not where the crystals out there. I'm talking about, I'm just going overall. COVID killed damn near what? Damn near 1 million people in the United States.
We'll never know how many people.
If not more.
It's more.
You got that. So these people, as far as the people that really truly run this country behind the scenes, and that's not the government, they're trying to thin out the population because they figure, well, these people eating too much food, too much water. So water is going to be the big fight that's going to happen in the future. People are going to be fighting over water. That's coming. So that, and then you talking about you release.
They already fight over water in the Central Valleys, in those desert-like valleys. They have San Joaquin Island valleys. Where they had that farming. They already having the bickering with the water already. Right.
I'm talking about wars. So you go from that. Then you think about the drugs. The drugs. That's easy. That's an easy thing to use to get rid of people, because those people they feel are expendable. Anybody that's not participating.
So who's doing it? Who's doing it? The maggots?
I saw a documentary, man. They had a big meeting with all the filthy rich people, man. Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, all these people, man. Elon Musk, all these people were there in this meeting, and their main topic was the overpopulation of the United States and population control. This meeting happened back in 2016. So 3 years later, you have COVID-19 hits. So you got COVID-19. So it's like, I don't think it's a coincidence, man. I might be sounding kind of crazy when I make these statements, but I don't put nothing past these people when it comes to them being able to say, well, hey, you saw what they did when COVID hit. All the people that had the money went and hid on their yachts. They went to yachts. They went to up to Aspen, Colorado. They went to all these little resort towns. They went to Montana and a bunch of places like that. They went to farms. The people in the inner city couldn't go. They had no place to go. So it's like you're wiping out those people. But one thing they don't realize is that if you get rid of all the so-called minorities and the people at the bottom of the list, then who's going to do your work for you? Who's going to work? Who's going to do your work? You're going to send to someplace else to bring in some more workers, some more people from another country to come do your work. They need workers. You're going to always need workers. But I don't know, Cutes, man. I
don't think the world in the United States has gotten that diabolical. I don't think it has got to that greed and that selfishness yet, to where they want to annihilate young people, the backbone of our society. I mean, China right now, realized that one child, per household thing has really knocked them off the map. Basically, now they paying families to breed, to have more babies, but now that they're more educated and women have careers and men is having these careers, they don't want to have more. They don't want to have children. So China right now, China's hurting because they believe some pseudo shit, something that wasn't real, but I know from my existence here on this planet that no one wants to kill off the youth, and now as far as the minorities go, us as black people, we're expendable. They want to keep us in juvenile hall camp. They want to lock all the young Mexicans up, the blacks. Right. Juvenile hall is full of us, and it's always has been, and it's a shame, that's the way it is.
But they make money off of that. They make billions of dollars off of locking people up. That's
don't want money. They do not want to. They do not want their own kids dropping like flies. It's almost like
I think that's the casualty. That's the casualty of the whole problem. Think about this. Back in the day when they put the coke,
this drug. Excuse me. Who was whose drug of choice was fentanyl first? We'll put it with the heroin family of drugs. Who was abusing that first?
Anybody that was using heroin, because that's what they was basically mixing it in with the heroin coming from Mexico.
Okay, but I mean, what race was using that first? What race uses more heroin?
Blacks.
Black people.
Blacks and Mexicans. So your argument, this is your argument. It was blacks.
But check. Listen to what I'm saying though. One thing I gotta say about that is this: the whole before fentanyl, it was opioids. The opioids opioids affected everybody, and so it was more whites abusing opioids than it was anybody else, especially them the hillbillies and people on that level, people in the trailer parks and all of that.
No, opioids, the heroin, all of that is in the family of opioids. It comes from.
It's all in the same family, but I'm saying the opioid pills, the opioid prescriptions. That's what I mean when I say opioid.
Hillbilly heroin, oxycodone.
Oxycodone, all of those were the ones that led up to the fentanyl. Just like PCP led up to the crack. Because the PCP that was out on the street gave us the infrastructure that we put together as far as the sales and how to manage it and how to do all that. And then crack came along and we already knew how to do what we was doing.
I don't think the opioids, I do not think for 1 minute in the United States that the target of opioids, the person, the people, the group, the race that was the supply and demand, the demand, the supply, the demand, the people who wants it, those are the people they selling it to, the suppliers bringing it over. They were feeding that shit to Mexicans and blacks. Only a small minority was white. And that's the hillbilly oxycodone and all of that shit, Rush Limbaugh drug and all that. These drugs were put here to keep us in our place.
I believe that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Liquor stores on every corner in the ghetto. Alcohol's a drug too. So
I agree with that. 100%.
You had alcohol there. You had all of these drugs. You had this high level of unemployment. We're gonna sell it to each other just to put $1 in our pocket. We don't see the damning effect in the long run. We just get in the good feeling of getting some money in our pocket because we unemployed. Or we unemployable because they're not hiring people like me and you at this particular time. This drug that's out there now is killing people.
It's killing people, but listen to this theory here. Okay. That oxycodone and that oxycontin and that hydrocodone, all those pills, those are prescription pills. Now those pills, the average person that didn't have a medical plan could not get a hold of those pills unless they bought them from somebody that already had them on the streets. They had white people that were leaving states like Tennessee, Kentucky, going to Florida, where they can go to Florida and buy and get a fake prescription and get 200 oxycodone pills where they can take them back to Tennessee and sell them for $80 a piece. So that produced a whole nother source of income for them. But when it comes to black people, we've always dealt with street drugs and all of that. I think the white people were the repercussions and the how can I say this? They were the collateral damage of the whole plan. The plan may not have been made for them, but it affected them just like the meth affected white people, been affecting white people since the 60s.
Right.
Now that meth is creeping into the hood. And I hate to see that shit happen.
You know what was killing? You know what was killing black people when I was a kid?
What?
When I was a kid?
That heroin.
No. Just think. It was Seconal and Truanol.
Oh, the pills, the red devils, right? The red devils, true.
If you took these downers and you drink alcohol, you would have a synergistic effect where this drug would literally stop your heart from beating. You're not supposed to mix them with alcohol. Every teenager I knew would mix his red devils, his Stums, with alcohol.
That's
there
true.
were so many kids ODing off of this shit, dropping dead, dying.
But look,
you never heard a big thing about it. You know why? Because it
affected us.
Kids.
It affected us.
But look, everything y'all saying, it boils down to fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine and heroin. So
exactly, 100 times.
Eliminate all them drugs that was killing us ain't killing us fast enough. So insert fentanyl.
Right. Fentanyl's dropping, people dropping like flies, man, in every city, every state, you know, every county. I
lost a dear friend. I got out, I joined this recovery community. It was this beautiful young lady, man. And I met her, and we were going to the recovery together. Just to see her would just make me feel so good. So I did something. I got taken out of the community. I got put into a more stringent community to where you couldn't leave on your own. You had to leave with an escort. So when I went back into the other community, I got on my motorcycle. They said, okay, Gilbert, you've been doing pretty good. We're going to give you your motorcycle back. Where are you going to go? I said, well, I'm going to go to I call this thing, I'm going to go recovery hop, meaning I'm going to go to someone else's group. So I went back down to my old group down in PB in Pacific Beach. And I went inside of this place called God's Garage. They call it God's Garage because it used to be a garage, and they turned it into an actual recovery place. So it was a thing called Dawn Patrol. They call it Dawn Patrol because the meeting takes place at dawn, early in the morning, right when it's about to turn daylight, dusk to dawn. So I get in there. Hadn't been in the community for 6 months because I was in the more strict, program because I run privileges and I test shit. And I got kicked out of the program. But like the man that I am, I remember this was a good program and I wanted to go back. And I was ready to own my part and why I got kicked out. I didn't want to be kicked out of the community, but I deserved to be kicked out. But so I went back. I had enough pride to go back. And when there was this wall, and they stick things up there. There's this job opening. If you guys want to come and work cleaning pools, grab this card, to make day money, like day labor wall. I call it the day labor wall. So I saw my girl's picture up there, but I'm sitting in the chair, and I could see her pretty face in her picture, and I get all happy. I got my girl's picture. That's cool. So, but I can't go over there right now because group's about to start. So I don't want to share because, I just want to hold my seat. I ain't got nothing to say. I just want to listen to everybody else share. So everybody shared. So now it's break time. We go get a coffee, some donuts. I get up, I walk over there because I want to see my girl. I get over there and she's dead. That's her obituary. That's the pictures they stick up on the wall. It fucked me up. I was like, damn, man, what happened? Then they all told me what had happened to her. And it was that fentanyl shit, dog. That damn fentanyl, man. It went through there. It went through there like a storm. It killed like maybe 30 kids, man.
Yep. You shouldn't have never bust the girl. Once you bust the girl, they kick you out, homie.
Hey, man, you too street smart for your own damn good.
Yeah, that's one of the rules you can't break, man, when you're dealing with the meat.
You don't mess with nobody's recovery. People are there to recover. It was the predator in me. You don't take advantage of people, because you got the gift of gab and you want some of this and you want some of that. I'm just getting out the institution. I ain't had none. I got recovery from drugs, but there's still things about my personality that's just as broken as it was from day one.
Oh yeah, you still got to work on other things, but they got
to work on other things.
Sexaholics Anonymous, man.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But I'm just saying, there's shit you got to work on.
Yeah,
like
I feel
respecting another person's recovery.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I've been sober now for 32 years, man. I went through Harbor Light Salvation Army program downtown on Fifth Street and Fifth and Central.
Good.
I stayed in there 6 months.
Yeah.
You couldn't leave. I stayed in there 6 months, but they did offer like weekend passes that you could get. So when I was free to get the weekend passes, I would leave and go, kick it at my mother's house, man, on the weekend, and then head back on Sunday night. But that fucking my counselor, man, was testing me. He was testing me, 2-3 times a week, man. Because they got that urine test that they can get the results in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you must like looking at my Johnson or something, man. You testing me so damn much. So he let up off me. He let up off me, man, for about a couple of weeks, and then right back to testing me again. But I told him, I said, you know what? If don't nobody else get this, I'm getting it, cause I seriously want it, man. I had a whole 20 years of using and abusing alcohol and drugs and the whole 9 yards, man. I was tired and sick, man, and I was digging the pipe out the trash can, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's where I was at. So I'm like, hey, when I told you, Kel, when I got that beat down by them 60s over there behind that liquor store on 8th Avenue in Florence.
That's why y'all all hate 60s, man. All y'all got to about 60s.
I don't hate them. I thank them for whooping my ass that day, because that Monday I checked into a program and I saved my life. So that whooping they gave me was an eye opener.
Yeah, that was an eye opener.
Shit.
My bottom was in 1986. I was in Donovan prison, and they caught us out on the whole yard, and I just drunk a bunch of Pruno, and I was throwing up red, and I'm out there in the yard, and all my gang got around me and stood around me because they searching our building because someone got stabbed, so they put us all in the whole yard, and the gun tower clacked the gun and said, "Get away from them, because they thought I got hit. They said, "Get away from them, get away from everybody down." They came over there and they seen all that red shit all over the ground, but I threw a Puree. I got a stomach full of Puree cooker. That's what we cook our alcohol with. And, they said, "Bill," when I got sober, I'm in the hole, they said, "Hey, Bill, we thought you had got killed out there. What was all that red shit?" I said, "Man, I drank too much alcohol, man." They said, "Bill, when we looked down and saw that blood on that yard, we thought you was dead." I said, I ain't never getting high again in my life. I said, I ain't never getting high again in my life. And that was the last time I ever got high, was in 1986.
I feel you, brother.
Yeah,
I feel you. Yeah, I've been sober since 1990, man. June 1990.
Let's get some. Hey, if you get high now, you didn't waste a lot of good get high time. If I get high now, you didn't waste a lot. That's what an addict told me. He said, "Cute, if you get high tonight, you didn't waste a lot of good high, good time for all that sobriety you got." And you know what? I ain't giving up my sobriety.
If I get high tonight, that shit would probably take me out.
Yeah.
I ain't taking that chance.
Man, I told Monster when he was in the car with me that night, I said, "Monster, you ought to try not getting high, dog. I don't get high, man. You ought to try it, Monster."
Mm-hmm.
That's what I told him.
I'm surprised you said that in public, Q's.
What's that, buddy?
What you just said about Monster.
Yeah, I had a deep talk with Monster.
Yeah, I know you did. Y'all had a long ride to talk about it too.
Yeah, we sure enough.
But that's real shit, though, man. Yeah,
it's real shit.
These young people and the people on here need to hear this, man. They need to hear this, because who knows, man? Somebody tonight might decide, well, hey, man, these old cats, man. They, a lot of the young people don't listen to us, but this is some real shit. We just trying to save y'all lives.
Man, I was the kind of drug addict. I was the kind of drug addict. When I would break in a house, I would look for two things. And I didn't care about money. I didn't care about jewelry. I would look for two things: the guns and the medicine cabinet. Those were the only two places I would go. Sometimes I would hit the bedroom first looking for the guns, or I would go straight to the bathroom and hit the medicine cabinet. Those were the only two things. And I couldn't read, so I didn't know what I was getting. I would just test the pills all day until one got me high. And that's how it was. You know, that's how my disease was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know the young people out there are in a lot of fucking pain, because I was in a lot of pain. You know, and they don't realize that they're in pain. But they in some deep pain if they're ready to take this oxy shit. They ready to take this fentanyl, man. They trying to take away their pain, but they taking away their natural monkey life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That shit is killing folks.
They even making it deal with the stress.
They making the fentanyl to look like oxycodone, to make it look like Xanax. They make it look like some of that shit even look like candy. It look like candy.
Yeah.
Or gummy bears and whatnot.
Yeah.
So they, you know what they going for if they got the shit looking like candy. They trying to get the younger generation, man. That's a diabolical shit. That's some diabolical shit.
It said that tonight the morgue is going to have infants in the morgue tonight because pregnant women are dying from this shit. You know, they dying from it. The pregnant women are dying from it.
Right. You ever look at Kensington? You ever look at Kensington Avenue on YouTube?
No. We grew up on Kensington.
No, I'm talking about Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia. Look up Kensington Avenue when you get off, man. You ain't gonna believe this shit, man. You are not gonna fucking believe it, man. 90% of the people out there are white, but I'm talking about, man, that shit like a bomb dropped on that city, man. That shit fucking ridiculous, man. I started watching it like 5 months ago, and I got hooked watching. I'm like, damn. I didn't think it was that bad, but then I remember what downtown LA used to look like, because I was right there on Fifth Street when I was getting my sobriety, and I could look out the window and see right there on Skid Row, the main street. But Skid Row is all over LA now.
I'm glad that my sobriety took a ride down Hell's Boulevard, because I needed Hell's Boulevard to wake me up. I needed that penitentiary. I needed that hole. I needed that steel and that concrete. And when I got on the street, I needed the Salvation Army. I needed to see the bottom of society to realize how far down I had fallen. I needed to see that. I needed to see that with sober eyes.
Right, but Skid Row is just a frame of mind, brother.
Yeah,
you can live in Beverly Hills and have a Skid Row mentality. Yeah. But I saw one of my old girlfriends down there on Fifth Street. She didn't even know who the fuck I was.
Hey, tell me this, man. How could Tommy Lee, how could all of these rich people got high off all these drugs at their homes, didn't monitor the activity of the kids, and they go into swimming pools and drown? How could they live with themselves today?
Mm-hmm.
How could you live with yourself if you get in so high, you live in a skyscraper, and you let your kid just walk off the balcony?
Right. That's a lot of pain, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of pain. And you don't give nothing back. You didn't went through all of this shit. You didn't did all of this horrible shit. And you don't think you mandated to give nothing back, Tommy Lee? You don't think you mandated to give nothing back? If your kid just walked out in the middle of Sunset Boulevard and got ran over because you so fucking high that you didn't neglect it to know that he was right there by your leg?
Yeah.
It's all kind of crazy stuff going on, man.
Yeah. Man, you know what? The more I see the news and the more news that I research and the more stuff that I see, I think I'll become desensitized to a lot of the news. And I really feel that that's a bad thing, because so much bad stuff is happening these days that nothing really shock me no more, man, Yeah. Like when that little kid last week that shot his teacher with a gun. Now, it was upsetting to a lot of people, but to a lot of people, it really didn't shock a lot of folks that I talked to. They said, man, it's like, who do you blame? You can't really blame the kid because the kid got the gun from home. It's like, what did the teacher do?
They won't even tell the real story of that. They're not even they keeping us in the blind of it. They won't tell us where did the pain come from in the kid. They're not sharing everything.
Right. That teacher fucked that kid's head up.
They're not saying everything. They're not telling us the whole story. But yet the cop got on there and said he know that it was no accident. How do you know if the kid is with the doctors?
Yeah, he don't know that. You know, and it's like we don't know the whole story. I don't even know what nationality the people are. I've been researching trying to find that and can't find it.
We don't know. They ain't telling us nothing. We don't know.
They ain't telling nothing. But I told my uncle usually when it's somebody white involved, they don't usually reveal the nationality of the person in the news.
Hey, you guys, I'm gonna have to check out. And I enjoyed your wisdom, Brother K, man, like always. And I'm gonna have to get ready to go to work. And Kev Mac, thank you for inviting me on your show.
Oh yeah.
You know, I really like coming on your show, man. You got a mature show. You have good guests. You have good audience too. And for the most part, you keep doing what you doing. You screen the way you want to screen. It's your program. Don't let nobody tell you how to do your show, bro. You're doing a damn good job, and I look up to you. You to be commended too, man. So you two brothers, you two brothers have a good night, man.
All right, you too.
Yeah, stay up, man. Man, it was good hollering at you. Good talking with you, brother.
For sure, brother. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, those are good comments. Good comments right there from Cutes, man. Y'all talking about recovery. I'm like, damn, man. I didn't have a drug problem, but I did go to GA.
Oh, okay. Gamblers Anonymous. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man. And it was a trip because I was lying every day. So I told
12 steps. But that's what we all do when we first get there, man. When I first went to Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, I'm like, I'm going along to the program, but shit. I guarantee I had a sip in the car when I was leaving.
Guarantee I put a bet in before I walked in the classroom. One day I said, man, I'm not going to keep going up in here lying. I didn't even feel right lying and shit. I'm like, man, I ain't lying to nobody but myself. But
You know, it's really weird. It's really bad because most 12-step programs are basically designed the same. They all have the same 12 steps. You know, you just interchange one word for the other. You know, you might interchange gambling for alcohol or drugs for alcohol. It's just interchanging. But the principles are all the same. You just got first thing, you got to admit you got a problem. That's the first thing. And if you having fun doing what you're doing, you ain't gonna never admit you got the problem. So that's that was what was going on with me, man. I was enjoying what I was doing. You know, I thought
me too.
I thought the whole world got high. Cause and in reality, it was my world because everybody that I was around got high.
Man.
You know,
I thought I lost more than anybody in America. I got up in that classroom and seen dudes losing legit corporations, big, huge buildings,
big money
floors, 25 floors, losing yachts,
family. All of that.
I ended up losing my family too, but man, they was losing big 7-figure, 8-figure bank accounts. I was like, man, I'm a peanut up in here compared to these people.
You know what? I went through the same thing when I had some guys from Beverly Hills that was coming down to the meetings we used to have at the post office on Thursday nights. And my thing was when they was telling those stories about losing the Learjets and the yachts and all that shit, I didn't believe them. I didn't believe them. I said, these motherfuckers lying. They just down here telling us these stories to try to make themselves look big. But I left out of there, and a few weeks later, I was still I was still suffering with my drug addiction. I went out to Compton to get me a little something, and there was a little kid that was out there slanging. This little kid approached me and said, hey man, I'll give you this sheriff stick, man, if you let me drive your car. I had money. I'm like, hell no, you ain't finna drive my car. Right then I thought about what this guy was saying about how he lost his jet, because that's how the drug dealer approached him. Let me borrow your jet, man. Here, I'll give you a half a key. And so to the point where when he was supposed to pay the guy back for some, for the part that, that he actually got, he couldn't buy it back. couldn't buy it back. So he ended up signing his Learjet over to this drug dealer, man. He did his yacht the same way. I could understand that when I saw it on my level, and that was on the car level.
Well, since you've seen how it went and you understand it, there's nothing else to tell you. But what I was gonna say is, a person don't do that to make himself seem bigger than nobody. He tells you that so you can see his pain and you can understand. Gambling is like a drug, man. And so they telling you their truthfulness because it hurts so bad and they just want to talk to somebody about it. That's what I understand about the guy talking about I'm lying about 13,000, like nigga. And he said, I don't talk about losses. My whole book talk about losses. What are you talking about?
Right. You got to be able to talk about your L's, man, just as much as your W's, you know. But you know, a lot of cats. When you hear guys tell them stories about, oh man, I ain't never lost a fight and all this other shit. I don't know, man. You know, it might be some cats out there that never lost one, but I lost plenty. I lost plenty of fights, and I ain't ashamed of that shit. But that's how you get better at, you know, at what you do, you know, by learning from your losses.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's really bad though, Kev. You know, the whole addiction thing all the way across the board. It don't matter what it is, whether it's coffee, or you know, drinking, you know, smoking too many cigarettes. Cigarettes was the hardest thing for me to stop out of all the drugs that I used. You know, that nicotine, man, it took me a while to get off that damn cigarette, off that tobacco.
Right.
You know, but it's a lot of shit out there. And the next drug I want to get rid of, I'm calling it a drug, is using too much fucking sugar. That shit destroy your fucking body too, man.
Oh yeah, you know? I destroy my body every day, but shit, that's what I want to do.
Shit. Hey, you know, they put it in everything. That's the hard part. You can't. You got to read the ingredients on a lot of packages, man. It's sugar in every damn thing you get.
Yeah.
But back on subject. I went to a meeting one night, and I had got fed up with hearing these rich people tell these stories, man. So I called the guy that was running the program. I cussed him out, man. I said, man, this shit don't work, man. This don't work, man. I ain't coming back to no shit don't work. So I cussed him out and he cussed me out, and that gave me an out. I didn't have to go back to the program no more. I'm like, cool. So my addiction got worse. And eventually, when I finally hit bottom, I went back into that room to try to get some help. Coincidentally, he wasn't there that day, and his Mexican guy that was there got me in the program that same day, man. And people told me, you got an hour to get here. If you don't get here in an hour, we're gonna give your bed away. So I got there, said, bring a pair of drawers, a t-shirt, and that's it. Come on, you know, shit. I was in there for 6 months. After a couple of months, man, of being there, they was feeding us all that starchy food, and I started gaining weight. Man, Kev, I was so small, I had my son's drawers on, bruh, and didn't even know it. That's how sucked up I was. You know, I'm like, oh man, you gotta be fucking kidding me. When I saw my picture when I left, the picture they took when I first got there, I said, damn, man, you got the wrong folder, man. That ain't me. He said, man, that's you. Like, no, it ain't. I looked at the picture. I said, damn, it was me. I was fucked up, man. I was tore up from the floor up.
Man, I've been skinny so long. When I look at my big ass stomach, I'd be like, well, shit, it's better than bones. Shit.
I gained 50 pounds while I was in that program. I was in there for 6 months. I was pumping iron and eating all that starchy food. And when I went back to work, man, I was like, you know, I was, you know, back to my normal self, man. You know, I got my yokes back up, you know, all the girls coming over to my machine. Hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. Got women in there patting me on my ass and shit. I'm like, hey, what you doing? Yeah, man. The girls was happy to see me, man. I was feeling good. I was, you know, I had turned my life all the way around, man. Completely around.
Marcus, yeah, I got lots of stories, Marcus. Maybe we could do a live just based on the gambling. we cover so many different topics. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come back on, man. It's still early though. I'm gonna do another show. Better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. I'd rather a woman live on her knees than not on her feet, man. But that's just me, you know.
Well, she can bend over. Shit.
Have her ankles up.
Yeah. Hey, all right, Kev, I got two more games, brother. I'm going with the Bills and the Niners, man. I could get that sweep.
Well, remember yesterday we agreed on all 4 games, remember?
Well, we only talked about 2. We only talked about the Eagles and the Cowboys game.
I asked you.
Yeah.
But I picked all of them. So for the first 2, I said the 49ers and the Bills tomorrow too. But the Bengals are gonna get the Bills some problems though. It's not gonna be a walk away.
Yeah. The Bengals it's gonna be a hard out. And I mean the Cowboys is gonna be a hard out. But you know, hey, I'm still rolling with the Niners.
Yeah, me too. Same here.
Yeah.
Cowboys look good in spurts, but I think the defense is overrated, and I definitely don't think they'll stop the Niners offense.
Yeah.
But, man. I'm gonna go back live, man. Y'all done talked all through the last one, so I don't even feel like I went live.
Hey man, I mean, you sent me the text, and I just tried to fill in as best I could, but I couldn't get on at first. Yeah,
no, that was good, man. That was good. In fact, you could come back on with me, but I'm gonna take about a 19-minute break, and then I'm gonna come back on.
All right.
Right,
me. Just hit me up. All right.
I kind of like that red you got on too, man. But
oh yeah, that's straight out of Inglewood shirt.
Yeah, it used to blind me back in the day. But now I like red.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I mean, even though I was on that side, man, I didn't wear red. I wasn't wearing no red when I was younger, man. Red was always bad luck to me.
Yeah, smart.
Bad shit would happen.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see you later on.
Okay, brother.
All right, Mac Kids and Maniacs. I'm gonna check back in later. I'm gonna go to midnight tonight. I will be back, man. What y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to talk about Jalen Hurts? What other topics y'all want to talk about? Jalen Hurts, what else? You want to go ahead and do the gambling thing tonight? We can do the gambling thing tonight. And we can talk about April. We can kind of get a heads up on who think they're going to show up in April. And I want to make something clear. So all my Mac Heads and my Maniacs is still in here. I want to make it clear. This is for the KevMac show. This is for the Mac Heads and Maniacs. This ain't for no other channel. This ain't for no other group of people. This is just for us. This is us. You feel me? We ain't inviting people from other platforms to come show up. This is for us. I'm tired of people riding off my back and getting a ride off of what I create or what I institute. Is that the right word? Initiate. This is for us. Anybody else can start and do their own shit. Even that'll be copying. But all right, y'all. See y'all in a little bit. See y'all in about 15, 20 minutes. Peace.